Welcome to Decoding SaaS, a podcast where we talk to founders and industry experts to deep dive into strategies that help them build and sustain a 10 million ARR business. A podcast that will provide actionable tactics and strategies from the minds of SaaS professionals.
Welcome everybody to the Decoding SaaS platform. We have Ankit Dudhvewala. I hope I said that correctly this time.
That's correct.
On the podcast today. He's the co-founder of AppSimple that has two products, Software Suggest and Call Hippo. So welcome to the podcast, Ankit.
Yeah, thanks, Amit, for having me. Super excited to talk to you and your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot to learn from you because you've built two successful products and are doing a lot of great things, especially from Ahmedabad. So I would love to kind of get started there.
Sure.
On the Twitterverse, there's a lot of conversations about Bangalore, about Delhi, about Mumbai, then about Miami and all of that. And you've built two successful companies out of Ahmedabad before it was cool to work out of different places. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience building from Ahmedabad?
So, Amit, I don't think it is that difficult to build from Ahmedabad. It depends upon what you really want to do and what your objective and what your goals are. So if you're building a very high-tech product, then you need to be in Bangalore or maybe Delhi, and you will get the right talent in those cities. But if you're not building super high-tech product, you can still do it from smaller towns. That said, even in smaller towns, you will find good engineers. So some of I think Zoho, which is one of the largest not SaaS enterprises, one of the largest enterprises in India. Not many people know about Zoho because it is not listed and it is very closely held by Sridhar Vembu and his family. People don't know about it, but Zoho was built from Chennai, and even now they have offices in different parts of the country and smaller. They want to open offices in smaller cities. So, in my opinion, building from smaller cities like Ahmedabad is not that difficult if you know how to spot the right talent and make sure that they stay with you for a longer period in time.
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely makes sense. So thanks for putting that to bed in terms of you can pretty much build from anywhere. And even before COVID, you've been able to do that as long as you have the right goals in place, especially for SaaS. Right. So let's talk about how your company came about. So can you talk to me about how AppSimple kind of started and what kind of led to your first product?
Okay, so I am from a non-tech background. I have not worked in a startup, but I have read this book called Direct from Dell by Michael Dell in 2004, and that is when I wanted to do something in technology. From 2000, this was in 2004. From 2004 till 2014, yes, AppSimple was started in 2014. I've been following technology, learning about technology, following your story. Then there was something called as Unplugged, which has been converted into Next Big What, and getting inspired from a lot of founders. So in 2014, I said, let's start something. Let's try the IT technology world, software technology world. I got some team members in my team, and then there was a problem to find. So before 2014, for about 2.5 years, I was working in our family business, which was into pharmaceutical. And there we faltered with finding the right software for the business. We wasted about 3 years in doing it. And that is when I realized that there is this problem of getting information on softwares, getting reviews on softwares. And that's how Software Suggest started in 2014.
Okay, so the problem kind of came out of your own personal pain.
Correct.
And that's how a lot of great businesses are started. So that's really sort of great to hear. So how did you kind of get started? So talking about the chicken and egg problem, did you start with a specific vertical? Was it that, hey, I want to find the best pharma software or the best software for medical? Or how did you kind of get started there?
So we did not understand. So when we started, we just understood only one software. For us, the world was Tally, because I had not lived outside India. In India, the most popular software is Tally. We just understood accounting software and we thought there is only one type of software, which is Tally. But then we started researching more, we started finding out more. And then we found out that there is another thing which is called an HR software or payroll software. We added that vertical on Software Suggest. we learned more about CRM. We added CRM, then ERP, and I think there are more than 1,000 plus verticals as of now on Software Suggest. There were weird things and very interesting things which we found out. Things like software like church management software. I had never thought before starting software that there can be something like a church management software. And once we started learning about it, we started adding new categories to Software Suggest.
That's incredible. So let's kind of talk about your initial growth. What marketing channels did you use? Was it SEO? Was it paid, social? What are some marketing channels that you used to grow?
So Amit, when I started in Jan 2014, I did not understand what digital marketing is. So in May 2014, I called one of my friends up. I told him nothing is happening in the organization. Things are not moving. And then he told me, have you done search engine optimization of Software Suggest? I said, I don't know what search engine optimization is. And he said, you should go to a website which is called Web CEO. And that software, the Web CEO will tell you everything about search engine optimization. And went to Web CEO, read a couple of articles on their blog, learned who Neil Patel is, and just went to Neil Patel's blog, locked myself in a room, and studied everything about Neil Patel everything about Neil Patel and everything on his blog in the next 2 days. Third day, I was an expert in search engine optimization. From the third day, I was doing search engine optimization on Software Suggest. So when you ask me this question, what was our marketing channel? Our initial marketing channel, and even till date, our primary marketing channel has been search engine optimization. It helps us acquire customer at a very low cost, which helps us in surviving and growing the organization.
Absolutely. SEO is a commonly ignored and underutilized channel, especially for SaaS companies. And that's really great that that's one that you used. And I love the story that someone told you something and you took action immediately and then became an expert in a few days. I hope that friend owns a small advisory shares or something. I hope you sent him something nice, for leading you in the right direction.
I haven't done that. I realized that I should do that.
There we go. That's something that you can do this week then. Awesome. So let's kind of talk about the revenue model, right? You talked about, hey, marketing strategy is something we figured out when we weren't able to grow. Did you have a business model in mind before you got started? And how did your business model for Software Suggest evolve?
So we had the business model in mind. We had seen, so Software Suggest is not, Software Suggest is the market leader in its own vertical, but there are other companies like Software Suggest. If you look at Just Dial, IndiaMart, Policy Bazaar, Bank Bazaar, Car Deco, Zomato, all are organizations in the same industry, but different verticals. So we actually took inspiration from a lot of them and copied their business model. So most of these organizations are doing advertisements. So you can advertise on Software Suggest or Car Deco and Policy Bazaar and all these websites. So we did advertisement. The other revenue model which we have is lead generation. So we'll try to generate leads on our website, qualify them, and send them to our software partners. And the third one is diverting our traffic to their website, which is what Google does from Google Ads. So Google will divert all their traffic to your website. So these were the three primary models, revenue models for us. We later added new revenue models, and we keep adding new revenue models now. But primarily, these were the three revenue models. There was some difference in understanding of pricing. We thought we'll be getting 10x when we started. We actually started with taking X from our customers. But essentially, the revenue model was same as to what we thought will be the revenue model at the very outset.
Okay, no, that's great. And then from a geography focus perspective, in terms of, is there a focus that you have? Hey, we're going to focus on Asia and sort of customers in Asia or in North America or anywhere else or in Europe, or are you guys covering kind of software that can be leveraged globally?
So when we started, we were very focused on the Indian market. As I told you, I had not gone outside India. I had not lived outside India. I had not seen the outside India. The only time I had gone outside India was a small holiday for about 10 days. So I did not understand the Western culture. I did not understand the market which is there. So when we started Software Suggest, we were primarily focused in the Indian market. And I think that is what gave us the early success. Had we gone all out and tried to do the global market, we would have probably failed at running Software Suggest. But by 2018, we started seeing a lot of global organization entering India. So we saw Capterra, we saw Software Advice, who are our competitors, starting and increasing their focus on the Indian market. And that's when we decided to go global. Now we focus more on the global market, less on the Indian market. About 50-60%, 55% of our revenue comes from the global market, 45% of our revenue comes from the domestic market as well.
Awesome. That's great. Where you started off locally and then you expanded globally when other players kind of began to enter this market. So before we start talking about sort of scale, let's talk about your other product. So what's the genesis, or how did CallHippo how did it start?
So we have a small call center team, Amit, on Software Suggest. Now, this, as I told you, this call center team was connecting with leads, trying to qualify and verify those leads. And with our call center team, we try to put a modern day software for this team. And we did a lot of finding, did a lot of research, but we could really not find something which had good UI UX, which was easy to use, which had features which were needed for a modern day business. And that's when we thought that if there is nothing available, why don't we build something? So we were building this internally for our own team, and suddenly we realized that it can be sold outside to other people. And that's how CallHippo came into existence. Something which was internal became a product for the world.
That's awesome, Ankit. It's very clear as to why you've been successful, because there have been personal pain points. And in terms of having that product vision, once it's your own problem, you know exactly the features you need to build. So that definitely sort of makes sense. So let's talk about CallHippo and in terms of how you got your initial customers. Was this also through SEO, or what other marketing channel did you leverage at CallHippo?
So yes, it was through SEO, the initial set of customers. So it's about 5 years we have been doing CallHippo, and out of these 5 years, almost about 3 years, we have been primarily focused on search engine optimization. In the last 2 years, we started also focusing on performance marketing, which is spending on Google ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads. But now we are also doing outbound and resellers. But the initial success for CallHippo came through search engine optimization.
Okay, that's really great that you've leveraged one channel to grow multiple businesses, especially one that not many folks sort of leverage. So from a customer acquisition, so from a customer acquisition cost perspective, which channel is the most effective for you? And from a quality of the customer, right? Which one kind of provides you the best customers?
Search engine optimization, I think, is the most effective channel. I mean, it takes a lot of time to start ranking. You'll have to spend, you'll have to build, you'll need a lot of patience, and you'll need to spend about 6 months to 1 year to start ranking anywhere on Google. But once you are ranking, your cost of acquisition is going to be really low. That said, you cannot find mid-market customers or enterprise customers through search engine optimization. We are eventually realizing that if you want to go to mid-market and the top tier of mid-market and enterprise customers, we'll have to do outbound, and we'll have to do resellers conferences to acquire customers.
Awesome, great. So SEO and potentially performance marketing for the SMB sort of customer base, and then other channels such as outbound and resellers for kind of going up market. So let's talk about kind of going up market and specifically about resellers. So what have been sort of some success factors when it comes to working with resellers, and what has not worked? So if someone was going to go ahead and establish their own reseller program, and is reseller the same thing as an affiliate program, or do you consider them differently?
No, so affiliate is something which we have been running for the last 3-4 years. Affiliate is a very low touch business model for us, where we share our links, and we expect influencers and people writing blogs to put those links on their in their blogs. If someone comes to our to CallHippo from their link, it is considered as a referral and pay them commission. Resellers are people who are actually going to talk to customers and sell the product in their own brand name or in their own organization's name, not brand name. They're going to sell CallHippo in their own organization's name, At times they will also create invoice. They will be collecting payment, and then they will be sending us the our share of it. Uh, Reseller has been pretty new for us. We have been doing reseller for about 6 months time, but with limited success. So I am actually not the right person to comment on how to become very successful in resellers. Things which we are doing is engaging more with our resellers, which has started giving us some results. Another thing which I can suggest is having someone. So we recently hired someone who has the experience of doing resellers with one of our competitors. So I think to make it successful, it might be a good idea to hire someone who has already done it instead of trying to go on your own and trying to figure out what actually needs to be done. So that's our strategy for now. But that said, we have not been very successful resellers until now.
Yeah, no. Thanks for your candor there. That definitely is helpful. So reselling, you basically white label your product, from what I understand. Is that correct?
No, we don't white label our product. So basically, affiliates are people who just give us leads. They are not involved in the conversation. They might not even know that they have given us a lead, and the lead comes through their
Yeah.
referral links. Resellers are people who are more involved, and they help us in closing those entire deals, is what resellers do.
Got it. Okay, awesome. No, appreciate that explanation as well. So let's talk about from a team perspective, right? So you have two products that are growing really fast. So can we talk about sort of your initial team, especially as someone that is non-technical? What was the initial team structure like? And what does sort of your leadership and management team kind of look like as of today?
So we run two products, but we have tried to ensure from the very outset for both the products that the team are completely different. Our initial team was of course focused on software suggest. I don't know how to write technology codes, and so we initially spent most of our money on hiring the right tech talent. We did not need anything else because I was doing almost everything else besides tech, and that's how we could actually save a lot of cost. And our software sales team started growing. I mean, I think it went to it was not very large. It was about 20 people. That is when we decided to create another product, which is Callipo. We pulled out 2 members from software sales team and told them that you will now be responsible for Callipo. Eventually, that team also started growing. As of now, we are at about 130, 140 people spread across the country. How does our leadership team look like? Most of the member of my leadership team until now has been people who have been with the organization for 3 to 5 years. So these were people who joined us very early in the organization, learned about the organization, and could grow internally in the organization. Now we have started people from outside the organization. We are adding very senior team, very senior leaders from other software companies, other SaaS companies. We are also going out and hiring from non-SaaS companies, and we found that to be very effective. So to answer your question, until now, it has been very built over 3 to 5 years, people who have been there. Now we are hiring people from outside.
That's incredible insight. And definitely in terms of, that's a journey that a lot of folks sort of share. So I'd love to kind of dig into hiring from the outside, right? And especially because sometimes how outside hires work, sometimes they don't. And a lot of books actually suggest that outside hires, especially at the leadership level, typically have a lower success rate. That's what data just suggests. Mainly because they don't have the domain, they don't have the knowledge of the 3 to 5 years that the person that you may be promoting may have. So how do you mitigate that risk? How do you make sure that the person that is coming in gets the knowledge that a person may have? So I'd like to talk about that, A, in terms of mitigating that risk, A, and then B, how does it work when a new person comes in with sort of team dynamics, especially from someone from a different background and all of those things? So if you could kind of talk about those two things, that'd be really great.
Okay, so to answer your first question, how do we increase the success rate of people who are coming from outside? So it's more about time. I think this person will become successful if this person is given a little more extra time. But because we are getting senior leaders from outside who are very expensive, we expect them to perform in say 3-6 months time. Maybe 9 months you can take, but I don't think you can take more than 9 months to perform. to ensure to increase their chances of success, we start engaging with them even before they've joined the organization. So for most of the leaders which we hire, I personally try to go on calls and talk to them every Saturday, tell them about our organization, answer any questions which they have. This ensures that even before they have joined the organization, they understand the organization very well. They have they have a clear picture as to where they are joining, what the organization needs are. Once they join the organization, we have clear OKR system. We give about 10 working days, that is 2 weeks time, to every team member, and we tell them to design their own OKRs. So we don't design their OKRs. The team member is supposed to spend 2 weeks with the team, understand the organization, understand where we stand, and they're supposed to design their own OKRs. We have seen the combination of giving them information even before they've joined and OKRs in 14 days time actually works. That said, we have our own share of failures with leadership team, but these two actually increase our chances of success. To come to your second question, we don't find any issue in team dynamics. So, as I told you, that most of my team member has been there for in the leadership team has been there for about 3 years, at least for about 3 years. They understand my thought process. They understand my vision. Uh, it's a common vision, rather. I should not say my vision. They understand the organization's thought process and they understand the organization vision. Whenever we are hiring someone from outside, we ensure that people who this person will be, the outside person will be working with, gets interviewed by people who are inside the organization. Even if the outside person is someone who the inside person is going to report to, even then we will take the internal, our own team member for the interview. We'll take our own team member's opinion, and our team member has very clear. Even our team member has very clear understanding as to what is the objective of this person who is joining from outside and why this person from outside is joining. How this person from outside is going to help our team member grow, and how this person from outside is going to help the organization grow. If these understanding are very clear, I don't think there is a conflict of interest which arises.
That's awesome. So there's buy-in because there's a shared goal and a shared why
Right.
there for sure. So do you have sort of leaders internally interview external leaders, even if they have a different sort of domain? So let's say you bring in a new person for, let's say you bring in a controller or CFO. Would you have someone from your tech team or whoever leads your tech team or someone that may be leading your product team also interview? Or how do you sort of do interviews, especially for senior leaders, and who do you involve internally and potentially externally as well to sort of interview senior leaders?
So we have not been involving people externally. For an interview, there are two parts of an interview. One is a technical interview and another one is a HR round. So most of our time in an interview goes on the HR round. So if it's an hour long of interview, about 40%, 40 minutes will go into the HR round and only 20 minutes will go into the technical round. And with senior hire, more so with senior hire. With senior hire, you talk to them for 10 minutes and you will understand that they understand everything technically, and they are in fact smarter than you when it comes to the technical round of the interview. So with senior hire, about 50 minutes will actually go into HR round and understanding if they will be culturally fit in the organization, if they share if they will fit in your vision and your goals of the organization. And when we are doing the HR round, it really does not matter if the internal leaders who are present in that interview or discussion is actually from the same domain. So because it is an HR round, my marketing leader can actually talk to the tech guy we are hiring, and it really does not make much of a difference there.
I love it. There's so many similarities between how we run our org and the way that you run it. And I think a lot of it is because we are bootstrapped and we have that sort of kind of similar DNA at the heart. That's definitely great. So, and what are some key things that you're looking to sort of understand as part of the HR or the people side of that? What are some things that you're looking to understand from that individual?
So, I am of the opinion, Amit, that it takes about 1 year for people to understand each other. So for me to understand any team leader who is going to work with us, understand his or her strength, understand his or her weakness, what their objectives are, what their goals in life are. It takes at least 1 year, and only after 1 year, the team members' growth in the organization starts happening. So we try not to hire people who are job hoppers and stay in the organization for less than 2 years. If you're staying in like 4 organizations, 5 organizations for less than 2 years, then it doesn't work for us. We have a very clear statement, which is in Hindi. I don't know if your audience understands Hindi or not, but we have a very clear statement that, and we say that, I'll tell it in English. We'll work only with people who we want to work with life with. So there might be one person who joined the organization and leaves the organization in 2 years, but when we are taking that person in the team, we have to be very sure that this is a person we want to work for life with. Next 20-25 years we want to work with this person. And when we say that we will not add a person to the team if we don't want to work with that person for the next 20-25 years, we can really not have people who have been switching jobs very frequently. We like having people who in the previous organization who have stayed have at least stayed 3, 4, 5 years in the previous organization. So that is one primary criteria for us. Technically, I think I've seen, so there are basic technical things which are there, which I think almost anyone with good experience and who has done good hard work in their careers can actually cross that hurdle. So these are the most important things for us as an organization.
I love it. And what is the saying in Hindi? So that I'm sure we have people that.
Yeah, saying in Hindi is हम उसी के साथ काम करेंगे जिसके साथ हम जिंदगी भर काम करना चाहते हो. अगर हम जिंदगी भर किसी के साथ नहीं काम करना चाहते हैं, we will not work with them.
Fair enough. No, that definitely makes sense. It reminds me of on this Sunday, one of my team members, he's actually been with us for 4 years. He randomly gave me a call, and we were just talking on video about the meaning of life. And it was just a super random call. He was out in a resort somewhere. He's like, "Hey, I'm bored. I just called you." And we're just talking. I totally understand that sentiment that you want to work with people beyond sort of just, hey, let's get work done, and that totally makes sense. So I love that that's kind of the ethos of how you work. Is that something that you carry on through all the levels, especially in the current sort of job market or just the general environment, right? Where in a sense where people are, especially if you look at most high growth startups, majority of the leaders that you see there have probably kind of moved around a lot. So do you kind of have that as a key criteria mainly for your leadership and managerial roles? Or if you're looking for a mid-level engineer, or let's say a mid-level marketer, or even someone more junior, you're looking for someone that has been stable at one org for a little longer?
So that's the criteria for all levels. Even when a junior guy is joining our organization, we don't think of that guy to leave our organization in the next 1 year, 2 years time. We are always thinking how this guy will become our CEO of one of the products which we run 10 years down the line. And if this guy is not meeting the specific the criteria of stability, then we'll not rather have him on the team. That said, for junior guys, and the junior guys are there in the organization for their career span is only 2 years, 3 years, 4 years maybe.
Yeah.
And in 4 years, if they're changed to organization, that's okay. I mean, the first 2 organizations might not be good organizations for them. But if in 4 years' time, if this guy has changed 6 organizations, then there's a problem. Even then, we might go ahead and we'll try to understand why the person has changed 6 organizations. There are sometimes reasons for them to change 6 organizations, multiple organizations. But for the senior level, that becomes very important. If you have seen the current tutor, Parag Agrawal's experience in bio, he did a lot of switches before joining Twitter, and then eventually became the CEO at Twitter after I think he has been working 10 years. I think he has been Twitter. So we understand that. We don't say that if someone has switched like 5 jobs in 4 years time and the person has just started with his career, it's bad. But for senior level, it is super must.
Yeah, it's when I'm talking to you, I feel like I'm talking to a long lost brother, like quite literally a lot of similar kind of things. So what I can understand is you look for truly grounded people, and you're looking for like groundedness rather than sort of anything else. So that's really great. So let's kind of switch gears a bit and let's talk about developing yourself as a leader. I'm sure running a 20-person company or even 2-person company when you probably had to go into the closet and learn about SEO and do all the SEO yourself was very different at 20 people versus 50 people to the scale that you're at right now, which is over 100. So can you talk to us about your development as a leader and how do you consistently sort of are on top of your own game to develop yourself as an individual and as a leader?
So reading a lot, reading has helped me grow myself as a leader. And the second thing, which I think people don't really give that much importance to, is meeting people and talking to your peer group. So I always have a set of friends who are in a similar revenue range or who have similar objectives, and I try to all people who have just crossed the goal which I have set internally, and I keep talking to them. So when you talk to them, there are a lot of things which they will tell you, and in our conversation, probably there will be like 20 things which will come up, but you will leave the conversation with one or two things which will help your organization at the same time, which will help you as a leader. So for me, these two things like reading and talking to people has helped me grow continuously as an organization.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. This is just on my desk right now. I have another set of books here. No, I totally agree with you on that. And in terms of finding in terms of the peer group is definitely helpful as well. And obviously speaking with people that are one step ahead as well. So is this something that you've formalized in a sense where you have a group of 3 or 4 friends that you guys meet on a monthly or a quarterly basis? Or is this more of ad hoc? Hey, I need tactical advice on XYZ. Let me call this person up or send him an email.
No, it's more ad hoc for me. As you said, if I need an advice, I'll contact the person. I have so I know at this point of time I have like 5-6 people which I try to reach out to. 3 years down, 3 years ahead, it might so these 5-6 people will be replaced by maybe another 5-6 people who are more relevant at that point in time in our journey. But it has been more ad hoc for us.
Okay, no, that definitely makes sense. And then let's talk about kind of development of your leadership and management team. One is developing yourself, and second is sort of actually working with the org and developing the org. So how do you do that right now? Do you bring in potentially external leaders and facilitators and trainers to do trainings, or how have you guys thought about leadership development, first-time manager training, especially in a remote environment? Can you give us some insights there?
So yes, implementing new methods in the organization helps us build leadership in the organization. So when we implemented OKRs, we recently implemented peer review, and we have seen both the OKRs and peer review help build people as better managers. We have seen that when there's one, instead of one person, there is a group of people who are giving them feedback. The feedback is more positive and help people grow in the organization. Second thing is getting external management training. So we try to do regular training by getting external trainers. It did not happen in Corona, but we had done a couple of them before Corona, and we plan to do a couple of them now. The third one is again helping them connect with or getting external leaders to talk to our team members is the third method for our leadership development. There are a lot of things which when we as a team tell the leader internally, the person might not understand, but when there is an external leader who is helping this person understand the weaknesses or become better in their strength, they tend to understand the conversation and be more dedicated towards achieving those goals. So this is how we try to achieve or try to help our leaders grow in the organization.
Understood. And let's talk a little about those peer reviews. At least when we've done them internally, both peer reviews and 360-degree reviews, they're always glowing reviews. Like we have seen that, even if they're anonymous, of course, they're anonymous. So how do you, and I would love to learn from you, is how do you ensure that they're actually very candid and very honest? And how do you ensure that people are able to have uncomfortable conversations, especially at the manager and the leadership level about certain things? So can you talk a little bit about that?
So we don't do anonymous peer review. We do a very open peer review. So I mean, and we have not seen issue with people not accepting or not being candid with it. When we are a group of six leaders, seven leaders, and if there is one or two people who are not comfortable with the entire process, they eventually tend to drop from the organization and get replaced by people who are comfortable. So in our organization, most of the leaders are very comfortable with it. They are very open to getting feedback. So for us, it has not been a challenge until now.
Got it. That's definitely open. Having a team that is secure with feedback and things like that. That definitely is a key to growth. So let's talk about kind of the larger team. So when it comes to the larger team, how do you ensure that everybody's aligned, especially in a remote environment? How do you ensure that everybody's going in the same direction? And how do you you might be hiring at a pretty fast pace. How do you ensure that you know who that person is? So two questions there.
So, I mean, that is really tough. I mean, we have not been able to figure that out very well. We are doing our share of vision, mission, and talking to our team members, doing all hands regularly. Uh, we try to spend more time. So after Corona and after going remote, I try to spend more time with the team leaders, talk to them, explain them the vision. But that said, we are still not as good as what we could do before Corona. uh, One thing which we do is we have started doing regular meetings in the last 6 months. So about 6 months back, we went Jaipur. We have our outbound. So we used to have yearly outbound. Now we have converted it to 6 months outbound. 6 months back, we were in Jaipur meeting the entire team. Now we are going Goa, meeting again, doing the outbounds and talking to the team, trying to understand, trying to explain them the vision, our objective as an organization, trying to get them in sync with the other team members in the new team members with the other team members in the organization. That said, it's still not as good as it was before Corona.
Okay, that's something that you are figuring out. That definitely something that I think a lot of leaders are in the process of figuring out. And same here. And I think the biggest challenge is, especially new people that join. I see people joining on Slack, and I see that. But in terms of knowing them versus before I knew everybody personally, so I think that's a personal challenge that I have. And yeah, is that something that you've figured out in terms of how do you actually still ensure that you know the people and they know who you are? Or at some point, do you just accept saying that, hey, you know what, I'm not going to be able to know every person personally at an organization?
No, so we built a lot of things around. So once we went remote, we built a lot of things around this. So every time a person joins, there is a set of videos which is sent to the person. There is a proper onboarding which is done using our learning management system, and the learning management system shows them a set of videos. There is a welcome note which goes from me. There is a welcome note which goes from my co-founders who asked me, and then there's a welcome note which goes from a lot of leaders. The idea is that when the new person who has joined the organization watches these videos, they learn about us. Every new person is supposed to send a video introducing themselves, telling what they do, where they have joined from, when did they join the organization, what they are going to do in the organization, what. So that there's a short interview which is done, and that interview is again shared on our Slack channel with everyone. And that's our method to know the person who has joined. To add to it, we do something which is called pantry talks. So every Tuesday, 4 to 4:30, there is a pantry talk, and every Thursday, 4 to 4:30, there is another pantry talk. Pantry talk, a casual talk which is done online. You can come to the room and talk anything which you want to. We do Friday events. So every Friday we try to do event. We'll call some stand-up comedian. We'll call singers. We try to do those events. Uh, we have something which is called water cooler chats on Slack. And I read this book, No Rules Rules, on Netflix, and from there I realized that as the CEO, I also need to tell people that I just don't work. I watch movies. So I watch movies, I travel, I do holidays, and I try to talk about those holidays. I try to talk about movies which I'm going to watch on our channel, and that is where on our Slack channel, and that is where the interaction starts. We do family dinners. So we recently did a family dinner where we called family members of our team members to come to the office, see the office, and then we took them for dinner. So these are the things which we are doing to get them engaged and ensure that we are connected as an organization.
That's awesome, man. It looks like a really sort of close-knit organization, and it looks like you've done a good job in terms of in this remote environment as you're scaling, bringing people together. So since you talked about you learned a lot from books, when we're looking at a leader that is scaling his organization, what are some books that have actually helped you scale the organization?
So to be very true, none of the books which are on organization building has actually helped us. My thought process have been built. Even so, I consider myself as a good marketing person. Marketer, but even with respect to marketing, I don't think marketing books has actually helped me. There's a book which is called Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely.
Okay.
I'm actually one of the biggest fans of Dan Ariely. I've read almost every book which he has written. He has written Predictably Irrational. Then there's something which is called Upside of Irrationality, and it talks about how human beings are irrational, and I've used that learning in marketing. So that is one book which has, and in fact, it also tells you about how to. So if you can just pick all those learning and put it in an organization, it tells you about how your team members are irrational and how people think, and how you can handle those situations, and how you can get them in sync with the entire organization and everyone. I mean, I am irrational, you are irrational. There is a irrationality is probably one of the main characteristics of human beings. Uh, there's another book which is called Psychology of Money, which I recently finished. It's on similar lines of Upside of Predictably Irrational. Then there's a book which is called The Outliers, which is Malcolm Gladwell, which has also taught me a lot about about running an organization, managing your team. So most of my learning has not been from the book, from books from the for the particular genre, or for the particular industry.
Yeah.
I'm missing the word, but for the particular genre.
Yeah. So don't read books about running an org. Learn books about how humans and people live and run, and then build an org based on that. That definitely makes sense.
I recently also read Dongri to Dubai, which is on Dawood Ibrahim and how he built his organization, which again was very interesting.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, autobiographies are awesome. You've given me a great list of things to go on order on Amazon right now, so appreciate that for sure. So this has been an amazing sort of learning, Ankit. So I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us here. If people wanted to get in touch with you, Ankit, what would be the best way for them to get in touch with you?
So you can always email me on ankit@appitsimple.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. So yeah, anything can work for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your learnings about building two orgs and scaling scaling orgs as well, and being so candid with how you've sort of done it. This has been a wonderful interaction. Thanks so much, Ankit.
Thank you, Amit.